I've always been a runner, but I've never run from anything, and neither has my city.
Do you want to be a Detroit police officer?
Sir, yes, sir! Up!
Amen!
It's something special to protect the people closest to you, the ones you've known all your life, your neighbors, your friends. I was born in this city, and I'm not going anywhere. This is my home. That's why I wear the shield.
We at Watkins Broadcasting care about the health and safety of our viewers and listeners. During this novel coronavirus pandemic, please protect yourself and others. Wash your hands well and often. Avoid touching your face. Cough and sneeze into your sleeve. Practice social distancing. Stay at least 6 feet away from others when in public, and only leave the house when it's essential. Stay safe. You are important to us.
This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman. I am here to address all of your complaints and concerns. If you need assistance regarding city services, please contact my office at 313-224-6000 or contact us via email at ombudsman@detroitmi.gov. This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman.
Hi, this is Theo Broughton, president of Barton McFarland Neighborhood Association. Someone asked me, what is a census? A census is a project put on by the federal government to determine the number of people living in any particular municipality. You count, we count, and it's time for us to be counted so that we can receive the allocation of federal tax dollars that we have sent to Washington, D.C. over the past 10 years. Those tax dollars are to be used for education, for health, and perhaps there will be some money even for us to fix the damn roads. If you have not found your mailer, please know that you can call the Federal Census Bureau at 1-844-330-2020. Again, that's 1-844-330-2020 for all of the help you will need. Peace.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton.
And I am Thabiti Mpinda.
Inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback,
A positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback.
Oh, and we are hot. Oh, it is so nice out there this morning. Thank you so much for being tuned in to Feedback, a positive image production by Hood Research. My name is Theo Broughton, co-founder of Hood Research, and my co-host,
Thabiti, and we welcome you to the program.
absolutely, we are expecting a guest. Hopefully we'll call him momentarily from New York. Many of you remember Night Talk with Bob Law, and we are looking forward to talking with him this morning. But first, I want to say good morning. Good morning to Don and Katrina. Good morning to Gloria and Carl. Good morning to Rosa and to Ron, and get well to Barbara. And good morning to Vera and Jay, way on the east side, and Les, way on the west side. And to Tony and Tyrone. It's just so many. And I want to say good morning to Lawrence and to Miss Biddy. Oh, wow, so many. Who you going to say good morning to?
Names that I have not mentioned, but definitely worth mentioning, Sister Clementine, Sister Gladys, Sister Gurley as well. Also, Cheryl D., Brother Eugene, Brother Fred. Also, wow, as you say, there's so many. Ruth Ann, Jackie's, both Jackies, and Brother Fred, and Brother Shane. And let me also ask you all to have your friends, family, neighbors, co-workers, and acquaintances to tune in also. The call-in numbers will be at the bottom of the screen, and we will repeat them throughout the show. And I always ask you to have pen and paper handy for valuable information you want to record.
And you know, we also can't forget to say good morning to Keith, Tawana, and to Michael. You know, Michael get upset if we don't say good morning to Michael.
Hello, Professor Griggs.
Oh man, there's so much that's going on in this community, and I want to let people know you had a ballot there while we're waiting for Bob Law, and I believe there's an instruction sheet that comes with it to tell you how, once you have voted, how to handle your ballot.
Okay, we're gonna, the instructions for absent voters. Step 1, enclosed you will find voting instructions. Please read carefully and then vote the ballot. After your ballot, place it in the secrecy sleeve which you will receive. If it is not provided, then refold the ballot to conceal your vote. Third step is to place a ballot or ballots in the return envelope and securely seal the envelope. Step 4, sign and date the return envelope in the place designated. Your signature must appear on the return envelope or the ballot will not be counted. Let me repeat that again, it's very important. Sign and date the return envelope in the place designated. Your signature must appear on the return envelope or the ballot will not be counted. If you are disabled or otherwise unable to mark the ballot and require assistance in voting, your absent voter ballot, have the person who assisted you complete the section of the return envelope entitled "To be completed only if voter is assisted in voting by another person." Step 5, quite lengthy, so I'll be slow and listen carefully. Step 5, deliver the return envelope by one of the following methods. A, place the necessary posters upon the envelope and deposit it in the United States mail or with another public postal service, express mail service, parcel post service, or common carrier. B, deliver the envelope personally to the office of the clerk. Remember, these are your options. Deliver the envelope personally to the office of the clerk, or to an authorized assistant of the clerk. Just one moment, we have a caller, and it may be our guest. Hello, caller, you're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us?
Hi, this is Tawana Morris, and I'm viewing you over my phone right now. I'm trying to get connection, but I would like to speak about the event that's coming up. It's a peace ride, the bikers, for all the Motor City bikers, and it's going to be at 14841 Illinois at the ED's Club, and they're going to have a ride to remember the fallen soldiers of the COVID-19 pandemic that we're having, and it's going to go. They're going to end up at Chandler Park. It starts at 2:00 p.m. Saturday, and it'll end at Chandler Park, and the events will last until 8:00. I am inviting all. There will be balloons available for the fallen soldiers, the fallen family members, and it's a peace ride, unity event for all. All is welcome. Vehicles are welcome. And I'm looking forward for a peaceful day.
Now, this address you gave earlier, what is it near?
It's on Illinois, near Finkel, between Finkel and Linden.
Linden. It's south of Finkel. Okay. Oh, all right.
Yeah.
And it starts at 2:00, and it's this Saturday.
Yes.
Okay, everybody will be meeting there at 2 o'clock. Is that it?
Right.
Okay.
They'll be leaving they'll line up about 1 o'clock. They'll actually be leaving at 2 o'clock.
Oh, they're leaving at 2.
And it will be escorted by our DPD
Okay.
in the name of peace and love,
Mm-hmm.
and to make sure we have a safe ride.
Oh, okay, okay. That sounds good. To have.
I'd like to leave a number if anyone have any questions.
Sure.
The number is 313
Mm-hmm.
971
Mm-hmm.
7225.
Okay, give it again. Give the number again.
Okay, the number is 313
Mm-hmm.
971
Mm-hmm.
7225.
Okay. All right. And that's for the Peace March, which is this coming Saturday.
It's going to be a ride, a motor vehicle ride, and it will be
a
the
caravan.
motorcycles first, and the vehicles second.
Right.
And it's in the name of the COVID virus.
Mm-hmm.
And we also like to remind everybody about it's important to vote, and it's important to do your count, the count for the all of our citizens.
You're talking about the census?
Yes, ma'am, the census count.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right.
Okay.
This
And
Saturday?
like I said, please give me a call. I'm Tawana Morris.
Mm-hmm.
If we have flyers out that's available, give me a call.
Oh, okay. Anything else?
Well, just to remind everybody that the mask is very important.
Mm-hmm.
It saves lives. And we in the city of Detroit, from where I see in all of my travels, we're pretty good. We really are wearing the mask. I've seen just about everywhere I go, 90% of the people have masks, and I think we're doing good.
Oh, that's very good. You know what's really interesting is the signs that have been used for decades that say no shoes, no shirt, no service.
Right.
No one that I have ever heard of has gone to court to sue because they can't go into business barefoot or with no shirt.
Right.
But now all of a sudden that there's a requirement for the mask, there are people who want to go to court and have gone to court to fight this. But when you have the sign up, no shoes, no shirt, that's not going to kill you. This virus is deadly, but yet those who are going to court to fight it don't seem to understand or don't want to understand.
And what's sad also is that people either lie and make excuses about having respiratory issues just because they feel like their rights are being violated. But what strikes me is that over 100,000 people have died and they act like it's still a hoax. I don't get that. How can you have that many deaths and then people still just minimize it and consider it as if it's not something, you know, that's insane.
In itself, absolutely. Wow. But I'm glad
And
that you brought it up.
also, those stimulus checks, while we're going through our demise, and that means everybody, we definitely need the stimulus check to help keep us going forward. And I pray for all those. I'm retired. I pray for all those who have to get up and go to work every day without a choice to support their family. So they definitely need that stimulus check.
Yes, yes.
And I think this time, if others who haven't in the past, and we know this to be true, contacted state representatives and national representatives, be they congressmen or senators, this is a time to really act because you're acting in your own self-interest. A lot of people have just minimized it, but now since there's so many struggling, millions who are struggling, tens of millions that actually, this is the time, because you do have time on your hands, to contact them. It doesn't take long. You can Google the information as you would Google something that's insignificant like a banana pudding recipe, Google these senators and representatives and let them know that they need to do what they're paid to, which is represent you.
That's true. That's true. And I also heard that this is coming up this week. The vote is coming up this week. It's important for everybody to get out, and I'm going to do my due diligence to get out and do my share. We all need to do it.
Where'd you vote this week? Are you speaking of?
They're supposed to be voting on the stimulus.
Oh, I see. In Congress. I got you. Okay.
Yes. They're supposed to be voting on the stimulus.
I mean, there are so many things that are happening rapidly around here.
Yes, it is.
Any changes that you want to put forth for the city charter are due by the end of this month. You know, that's another urgent need. And for anyone who has a suggestion, it has been shared by the vice chair of the Charter Commission that you don't have to be afraid to submit it in just plain sixth grade language. It does not have to be in legalese. Just make sure that the point you want to get across is plain, you know, and they are going to consider it and vote on it, etc. But if you don't try, you'll never know whether your suggestion is positive and beneficial for the city of Detroit.
I would add that those of you who have had these ideas and thoughts swirling in your head and maybe sharing it with people that you are in close contact with, share it with people who can make a difference. And the City Charter Commission welcomes all ideas, just like we welcome all ideas. Make sure that you share it, because after the deadline, whatever deadlines we deal with, whether it's taxes, the charter, etc., after the deadline, it makes no difference.
Right. And then
can I add, I have a question about and Theo, I think we talked about it before, the mail-in. I've been looking on the internet, and there's a lot of concern about the mail-in, making sure it's safe. I'm going to be there to make.
Hello?
Well, as it relates to the ballot being mailed in, you
Hello?
really should not take a chance
Hello?
on mailing it after today because the mail is very, very slow.
Hello?
Did I say very slow? Very, very slow.
Hello?
Very slow. So slow
Hello?
that I had a package mailed to me
Who am I speaking with?
on the 9th of July. It was
Okay, let me
supposed
put you
to
on
be
hold,
a
brother, and I'll bring you right in.
2-day
Okay.
mail. It is now the 20th.
I ended up cutting her off.
And I have not received the package yet. I have a tracking number. I have been tracking it. And currently, the package is in Allen Park, believe it or not. So I'm going to check today to see about the progress of this slow package. Who?
Curtis. I haven't
Oh, Kurt.
bring them in yet.
Oh.
I want to just quickly apologize to Tawana Morris. I'm not really familiar with all the buttons on the phone, and I cut you off abruptly, so I do apologize for that.
Okay.
Okay.
So go ahead. So anyway, it's very important that you mail your ballot ASAP, and also call the clerk's office to determine whether or not the clerk has received your application for an absentee ballot. You may receive it, but you gotta, get it back over to the clerk on West Grand Boulevard, right diagonally across from the Fisher Building. I think almost everybody knows the Fisher Building. Landmarks are good to know and good to have. We have somebody on the phone.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Hello?
Hello, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, this is Kurt, Channel 33.
Oh, happy Monday, Kurt.
Okay.
Thanks for calling.
Yeah, I mailed off for my absentee ballot, and I sent off my census.
Oh, thank you,
But,
thank you. All right.
but you know,
Wait, before you go forward, when did you mail the application for a ballot?
it had to be more than a week ago.
Okay. I would suggest that you call 876-0190. That's a 313 number. It's the city clerk's number. 876. Hey, that's a sequence, isn't it?
Yes.
I'm still here.
Okay. 876-0190. And when you get
Okay,
to that's the clerk's number, and you when it they give you some little speech, then you press 1, I believe it is for absentee, and have the clerk check to make sure they have received your application, and make sure they have mailed you your application, because
so
I'm
you're
telling
saying
you,
more than a week is too long to have waited?
yes, I am.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, I got you.
I had a package mailed to me, supposedly to be received in 2 days. It was mailed to me on July the 9th. It is now the 20th. I have not received it yet. I have a tracking number, and as late as yesterday, I'm told it's in Allen Park at the distribution center. The
Oh,
9th
okay,
of
yeah.
July.
I'll give them a call and see what happened. But
Yes,
the other comment I wanted to make is about the mask,
yes.
and I agree with Governor Whitmer. The mask, wearing a mask is the small thing. When they came out with you can't smoke here in the stores and public places, you didn't get this much pushback. You know,
Right,
that went over pretty easy.
right.
So I think this thing is eventually going to go over pretty easy with the mask, you know.
I think that more people need to understand the benefits. They really do.
And,
New
and,
York has done a good job.
and hopefully,
Yes.
since most businesses are refusing entry, most of the businesses I've gone in, Home Depot, et cetera, are refusing entry. They're putting the customer base on notice that we're not going to tolerate you violating the mandate.
Right, because like I said, you can't smoke in them places. They don't argue about that. More than 90% of people agree not to go into a place smoking a cigarette.
Right, right.
You know, but let me say this about the pandemic, and I'm on the phone. You know what this reminded me of? Something I read about called The Shadow of Death. And
Ooh.
thanks for taking my call.
Oh, wow. It's funny you should say that. What I thought about was the movie, The 10 Commandments. And when the firstborn was supposed to be killed, they had this green smoke floating through the city. And the green smoke. And if you had, what is it, lamb's blood or something on the door, you would be protected. Well, I guess our mask is our protection. Now, back to...
Okay. Yes, I'm going to continue on
Okay.
for those of you, and hopefully you still have pen and paper handy. These are instructions for absentee voters. Okay, we left off at, well, I'll start at step 5, point B. Deliver the envelope personally to the office of the clerk, to the clerk, or to an authorized assistant of the clerk. Step 5C, in either A or B, a member of the immediate family of the voter, including a father-in-law, mother-in-law, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, son-in-law, daughter-in-law, grandparent or grandchild, or a person residing in the voter's household may mail or deliver a ballot to the clerk for the voter. Step D, Part D, you may request by telephone that the clerk who issued the ballot provide assistance in returning the ballot. The clerk is required to provide assistance if you are unable to return your absent voter ballot as specified in A, B, or C above. If it is before 5 p.m. on the Friday immediately preceding the election, and if you are asking the clerk to pick up the absent voter ballot within the jurisdictional limits of the city, township, or village in which you are registered, your absent voter ballot will then be picked up by the clerk or an election assistant sent by the clerk. All persons authorized to pick up absent voter ballots are required to carry credentials issued by the clerk. If using this absent voter ballot return method, do not give your ballot to anyone until you have checked their credentials. Step 6, the ballot must be reached. The ballot must reach the clerk or an authorized assistant of the clerk before the close of the polls on election day. An absent voter ballot received by the clerk or assistant of the clerk after the close of the polls on election day will not be counted. I want to repeat that again because it's very important. Step 6, the ballot must reach the clerk or an authorized assistant of the clerk before the close of the polls on election day. An absent voter ballot received by the clerk or assistant of the clerk after the close of the polls on election day will not be counted.
You know, I think there needs to be, and I think I'll call up there too, a special watch at the post office. Because we've heard in the past there was a bag of ballots left at the post office and all of this. And if that's true, then this election season, we need to be extra careful that any bag at the post office be picked up in a timely manner.
And as a person who's familiar with postal proceedings, it's very important to make sure, as I indicated in step 6, that you do get the ballot in a timely manner, because I have personally seen, and this is throughout the state, whether it was for Taylor, Michigan, Westland, Detroit, etc., ballots that came in during the day of election or after the day of election. Well, those might as well go in the fireplace at that point, because everything is done timely. So with the time that you have on hand, try to do these things ahead of time. Waiting till the last minute, sometimes you don't get that minute. Now, there are some warnings also that are on this instruction for absent voters that I'd like to read, because we need to be aware of them. All of the following actions are violations of the Michigan election law and are illegal in this state. Number 1, to vote absent voter ballot at a meeting or gathering at which other people are voting absent voter ballots. It's interesting. I didn't know that.
Say that again.
Yeah.
What?
Okay, now these are, I'll start from the top. All of the following actions are violations of the Michigan election law and are illegal in this state.
Okay, these are don'ts. Okay,
Yes.
all right.
Number 1, to vote absent voter ballot at a meeting or gathering at which other people are voting absent voter ballots. So I guess that means do it in the privacy of your home and not in church or school or any other social place. Number 2, for a person who is assisting an absent voter in marking the ballot, to suggest or in any manner attempt to influence the absent voter on how he or she should vote. So that means no coercion, force, or anything of that nature. Number 3, for a person who is present and knows that a person is voting an absent voter ballot, to suggest or in any manner attempt to influence the absent voter on how he or she should vote. Number 4, for a person other than those listed in these instructions to return, offer to return, agree to return, or solicit to return an absent voter ballot to the clerk. And 5, finally, for a person other than the absent voter, a person in these instructions or a person whose job it is to handle mail before, during, or after being transported by a public postal service, express mail service, parcel post service, or common carrier, but only during the normal course of his or her employment, to be in possession of a voted or unvoted absent voter ballot. So that nobody should be doing that off the clock, basically.
Yeah, you say, now why didn't they just say that?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Now, is there another instruction sheet saying that you should use a pen with black ink in it And does the envelope have a prepaid stamp on it? I know last election, was it March 10th? We were told we didn't have to put postage on the envelope, the return envelope.
And in this case also, no postage necessary if mailed in the United States.
Okay, no postage necessary if mailed in the United States. Okay, that's good.
Okay, now it doesn't indicate from what I'm looking at whether, but, oh, here it is. I'd overlooked it. This is a reminder. Make your vote count. Use a black or blue ink pen to shade in the entire oval area. So again, make your vote count. Make sure that you use a black or blue ink pen to shade in the entire oval area. And I'm sure we all have at least a black or blue ink pen, if nothing else.
And I remember the black ink in an ink pen hasn't been a business use. That, requirement on business documents has been black ink. So that's a good thing. No stamps necessary on your envelope. Use a black ink, blue if you don't have that. And remember to sign the envelope and date it before you mail it back to the clerk. You can also deliver it back to the clerk. And you can call the clerk's office if you have any other questions. And that number is a 313 number. Is 876-0190. 876-0190.
And an additional note I'd like to make, I'm going to hold this up for everyone to see. Here in my right hand, you'll see the ballot itself, the official ballot. And in my left hand, you will see the absent voter ballot secrecy envelope. So you'll fold the ballot, and then you will put it in a secrecy envelope, and then insert that into the envelope, which goes back to the clerk. Now, as was stated, if you don't have the secrecy envelope, you're supposed to fold the ballot so nothing is revealed, and then put it into the envelope, which will be returned to the clerk.
And that's the one that you sign. The one that says no postage necessary is the one that you sign. Is that correct?
Yes, you sign the back of that. Let me
show it.
Yeah, here, as you see, there's an area on the back of the envelope for you to sign, because if it's not signed, then it's invalid.
Now, if you have sent in your application for an absentee ballot and have not received it, you should call that number, the 313 number I just gave you, 876-0190, and inquire as to whether or not your ballot has been mailed out. You can pick up an absentee ballot if you'd like. You can vote at the clerk's office if you'd like, or you can vote at one of two locations that have been generously provided for Wayne County Community College. The location for the east side of the city is on I-94 and Connor exit. That's right across from the city airport, which is now named Coleman Young International Airport. That's the east side location for the Wayne County Community College. The west side location for Wayne County Community College is on Outer Drive and the Southfield Freeway, right at Outer Drive and the Southfield Freeway. Those two locations are being provided. They're open as we speak. They're open at 9 o'clock in the morning. And they are available for people to go and register and vote early. And they have ample parking spaces. So you can consider that as well.
Now, I want to just say personally, I have used the Northwest Campus, and I have encountered people I know using the Northwest Campus. Very easy. They're very friendly, very helpful. So you can get in. They process you quickly, allow you to vote. or submit your ballot and then to leave. So take advantage of it for your own convenience.
Yeah. And then, Kirk, I didn't think about this when you called, but if for some reason you and all of those tuned in have sent in an application or want to send an application and you have access to a computer, you can get an absentee application, the voter application, and return it, and they must mail the ballot. You don't get a ballot on computer. Don't misunderstand. You get an application on a computer, and that makes it a little faster. You know, you don't have to worry about having them mail you an application, then you sign the application. You do not have to give any excuse for wanting an absentee ballot. You do not have to give an excuse for wanting a ballot. There was a vote on that in Lansing, and you get one just for the asking. So I want to make clear that they know that. That's been in existence now, this may be the second year? It just happened recently. The second year. Right?
Now, I've got a question, and I'm not sure about that, Theo. I always defer to you as an authority on many of the things that I'm not sure about. But the question I want to ask you for the benefit of the audience, because I'm not really sure if I know the answer, these satellite locations, can you go to them at any time to, I guess it's a two-part question. One, can you pick up an absentee ballot at those locations on Election Day and fill them out, or does it have to be prior to Election Day to receive it?
Well, my understanding is it has to be prior to Election Day. My understanding is they will be shut down on Election Day because those two locations are not a voting precinct site. They are a satellite of the clerk's office on the boulevard.
Okay.
And also, I'm told that the clerk's office on the boulevard is closed on Election Day because there are so many mandates that the clerk has to take care of. And one is being at the main location until, 10, 11 o'clock at night, counting votes. And that location has been what is it called, a TFC center? Used to be Cobo Hall, so those of you know what I'm talking about. And that's where all of the votes had been transferred. And the counting of absentee ballots begins at 7 a.m. by the employees that are hired to work on Election Day. And they start at 7 a.m., obviously because there's so many of them. And this time, we're hoping there will be additional mail-in ballots because it's so convenient and to take advantage of the convenience, but you cannot wait until the last minute because the coronavirus will get you. The coronavirus is slowing down the transporting of mail. I hate to tell you that, but it is. And as I said a little earlier, I have a package that was mailed to me on July the 9th. Today is the 20th. So you see, it's very, very late because it was a 2-day delivery, supposedly. I have a tracking number and I'm still tracking.
Now, the second part of that question is, since you can't do absentee ballot on voting day, and I think you may have answered this, but I need to be clear, is that a person can go to one of the satellite locations now and actually get a ballot, or do they get an application for a ballot?
They get an application for a ballot.
Okay, we have a call.
But it would be simpler to go to the clerk's office on the boulevard because you can fill out the application and pick up your ballot, take it with you, or vote right at the clerk's office, which is on West Grand Boulevard across from the Fisher Building.
We have a caller.
Okay.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please?
Good morning. This is Beverly Kendall Walker.
Oh, thank you for calling, Beverly.
And I am viewing you on Comcast Channel 90.
All right.
And you're coming in nice and clear.
Okay.
I just wanted to add to the satellite offices location.
Mm-hmm.
So the new idea is to have one in each of the council district. So that's 7 satellite locations you can actually vote at.
Mm-hmm. You mean there are 7 satellite offices early voting?
Early voting.
Okay. Okay.
That started on July the 13th, last Monday.
Mm-hmm. They added
Hang
that.
on one quick second. I'll turn this volume down.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you stated, all of the WC3 campus in Detroit are locations. The Northwest Activity Center
Mm-hmm.
is now a location for District 2.
For early voting.
Early voting. All of these
Okay.
are the satellite offices, early
Satellite.
voting.
Okay.
Okay.
And the Northwest Activity Center
Mhm.
is for District 2. Is that City
District 2.
Council District 2?
Correct.
Okay.
On
Okay.
Myers.
On Myers.
So
Mhm.
that's in addition to the Northwest WC3D campus.
Right, right.
Okay.
And the Northwest Campus is, was it
District
18100 between McNichols and 7 Mile?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so District 3 is at Farwell Recreation Center,
So 7 Mile.
East Outer Drive and Mound area.
Mm-hmm. It's
And
on the
District-
east side.
Yes, ma'am.
District, City Council District 3. Okay.
hmm And District 4 is our favorite Eastern Campus.
Yes.
WC3.
Right. I-94 in Connor.
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
And then District 5 is the Elections Department on the boulevard itself.
Oh, right, right. Diagonally across on the Fisher Building on West Grand
Mhm.
Boulevard. Okay.
And District 6 is the WC3D campus downtown
On 4th Street?
on 4th Street.
Oh, okay. That's
And
near the
then
main post office. The address is 1001 West
Right.
4th Street. Mm-hmm.
hmm And the last one is District 7, and that's at Adams Butzer Rec Center on Linden.
Leonard, just east of Myers.
hmm
Now, I counted 6. Did I miss something?
Well, you started with Northwest Campus WC3 is the
Yeah.
first one on Outer Drive.
Right, right. District 2. Uh-huh.
hmm
They
So that's
go-
District 1.
Okay.
And District 2 is Northwest Activity Center.
Okay.
And 3 is Farwell.
Okay.
4 is WC3 Eastern.
Okay.
5 is the Election Commission on the Boulevard.
Okay.
And 6 is Downtown Campus WC3D.
Uh-huh.
And 7 is Adams Butzel.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. I think Linden was the one. Even though I said it, I miscounted. That's good. There are additional early voting locations.
Now, the good thing about those locations is you don't have to be a resident to that particular district because they can pull your voting information from wherever in the city. So it doesn't matter. Just, if you get an urge to go vote now, just stop and do it. Get it done.
Go to the closest one.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
hmm
Oh, that's great. That is really great. Yeah, because the one on the boulevard is not always accessible for everyone.
Yeah, the parking is a challenge. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Right, right. And you know, this is so important. Also, you have to vote for just one party. You can't split your vote
Right.
to different parties. Whatever party you pick, you want to vote in, that's what you have to do on this ballot. If you vote for one person on the Democratic side and one person on the Republican side, or one person on whatever party that is, then you have nullified your ballot. It won't be counted.
Right.
So just got to keep that in mind. Only one party at a time. Yeah. I am so glad that you called in and shared those additional locations.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm. Really makes it really more convenient than before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And as you said, don't wait until the last minute to return, because if you're going to vote by mail.
Yes,
because you never know what's happening with the postal delivery and any point of contact with the ballots, which should be minimal based on the law, because anybody can't handle absentee ballots.
That's true.
So it has to be in the proper location.
Right, and normally, if you would fill out your ballot and hand it to the mailman as he or she comes to your door, it would be there the next day. Most of them come early,
Right.
and the mail would get to its destination. But it's because of the coronavirus, this pandemic that has gripped the country, the world by the throat. And you have a number of postal employees who are in quarantine, in the hospital, or dead. That has slowed down the mail. And even if you call your local post office, they have an outgoing message when you reach there that will remind you that this coronavirus is no joke. So you have to really take that at hand and know that you gotta allow a lot of time so that your ballot gets to its destination. And Beverly, that the application is accessible on the computer. So for anybody who has access and can get to the clerk's website, they can get an application, which will make that process faster.
Right.
And keep in mind also that, as I indicated when I read the different instructions, that if you have someone within your household, a family member, who may be a lot more familiar with computer operations, they can do that for you. But the thing is that we have to take advantage of each and every opportunity and option that they allow us, and exercise one of those options to make sure you get it in. This is a very critical year for elections, both primary and general election. And many of us do have spare time, have the extra time, maybe because we're furloughed, unemployed, maybe even retired. So you have the extra time to do it. And similar to the census, it doesn't take that long. So I'm sure you can fit it in with it takes well less than an hour. So you can fit it in a 24-hour day. And I always emphasize that there's 24 hours in a day. All you may need is 15 minutes or so out of that. That's not a large chunk of time to do something that is as critical and as important as these particular matters are.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And we want to remind returning citizens and our family that, just because you have a felon, as long as you're out,
right.
Trial, you can
yes. Returning citizens are legally able to vote when they have completed their sentence. And also, anyone who has not been convicted yet has a right to vote as well.
That's right.
All states are not under the same law, but Michigan is. If you've not been convicted, sentenced, and all, you can vote. And if you have served your time and you are a returning citizen, you can vote. You have a right to. And actually, you should exercise that right also.
I think it's even more important given the fact that As we know, some people have been wrongly incarcerated, and why I bring that up is because there are judges who are being who are on the ballot, as well as legislators. Maybe you check their background, because some have voted for laws that have worked against those who are returning citizens, and there are some who have worked in the benefit of returning citizens. So myself personally, if I were in that situation, I would want to make sure that I kept legitimacy within the court system, and also made those representatives, whoever they may be, responsible if I place them in office. But I say that to the returning citizens, but to all citizens, it's critically important to make sure that the people that you put in place, I always say, number one, have a track record that you can follow, so you know what their voting pattern was. If they've never been in, but they've done other socially engaged activities, then we need to know about that, and we need to support them. And if they haven't a track record, then there's really nothing to go on. If you don't have a track record as a doctor or the credentials of whatever profession you may be, then why would we even bother with them? So I'd say the same is even more important for politicians, because they are lawmakers.
And politics affects your daily life, whether you believe it or not.
That's right.
You know, yes. And as Miss Beverly Kendall Walker is on, a responsible citizen and candidate, and has called to share the other satellite offices for the city clerk. And I really appreciate you sharing that, because people need to know that they can begin taking care of this responsibility right now. They do not have to wait till August the 4th, which is election day. Yes. It may storm like it did yesterday. Good Lord. I mean, the sky was dark, and it was some serious rain yesterday, similar to the one we had, what was it, last month or 2 months ago? That was a bad one as well. But you can take care of it now. Now is the time. Don't procrastinate. Don't wait.
What is that old saying? Make hay while the sun is shining, or take care of your voting while the sun is shining.
That's right. Absolutely.
And take somebody with you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. As many as possible. And I always say that, because it's, boy, I tell you, it's serious. It's very serious.
It's serious. And I thank you so much for taking my call, and as always, looking forward to Hood Research to give out good information.
And thank you for calling Beverly Kendall Walker.
All right.
She's bye now. She's a candidate. Is this in it? Is there somebody on the?
No.
I think we should take a break now, because I'm going to see if our guest is having some difficulties.
Hi, this is Theo Broughton, president of Barton McFarland Neighborhood Association. Someone asked me, what is a census? A census is a project put on by the federal government to determine the number of people living in any particular municipality. You count, we count, and it's time for us to be counted so that we can receive the allocation of federal tax dollars that we have sent to Washington, D.C. over the past 10 years. Those tax dollars are to be used for education, for health, and perhaps there will be some money even for us to fix the damn roads. If you have not found your mailer, please know that you can call the Federal Census Bureau at 1-844-330-2020. Again, that's 1-844-330-2020 for all of the help you will need. Peace.
I've always been a runner, but I've never run from anything, and neither has my city.
Do you want to be a Detroit police officer?
Sir, yes, sir. Amen.
It's something special to protect the people closest to you, the ones you've known all your life, your neighbors, your friends. I was born in this city, and I'm not going anywhere. This is my home. That's why I wear the shield.
We at Watkins Broadcasting care about the health and safety of our viewers and listeners. During this novel coronavirus pandemic, please protect yourself and others. Wash your hands well and often. Avoid touching your face. Cough and sneeze into your sleeve. Practice social distancing. Stay at least 6 feet away from others when in public and only leave the house when it's essential. Stay safe. You are important to us.
Hi, this is Theo Broughton, and I want you to know that the Dabo Sheffield Center is the happiest, healthiest, and most supportive center in our community. But I also need you to know that the happiest day is the second Saturday of every month when Hood Research meets at the Dabo Sheffield Center, 12048 Grand River on the corner of Wyoming. Our meeting begins at 2 p.m. This center is where you meet all of the important people. Join us at 2 p.m. on the second Saturday. See you there.
You're watching Detroit's own WHPR TV. Detroit Live.
This is Theo Broughton from Feedback. You can watch me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at WHPR TV Now app. Download our free app at WHPR TV Now.
Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern.
This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman. I am here to address all of your complaints and concerns. If you need assistance regarding city services, please contact my office at 313-224-6000 or contact us via email at ombudsman@detroitmi.gov. This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman.
Hi, excuse me, do you have anything for paint?
Straight down that aisle there.
All right, thank you.
Young lady, this here's what you need.
Ringmaster?
Ringmaster rubbing oil.
How does it work?
By promoting circulation since 1950. Massage it in for best results.
Ringmaster took care of my back pain.
Ringmaster got rid of my knee pain, too.
Wow, it sounds like I'm late to the party. I'll take one.
Find Ringmaster at CVS, Davis Drugs, and other fine stores.
The census doesn't matter. I don't see the impact.
Actually, Michigan gets $3,000 per person per year for 10 years to help fund schools, community food assistance, Medicaid, and more.
All right, I'll do it.
I'm kind of worried about my privacy.
The census is for everyone, but your data is not. Your answers to 9 basic questions will not be shared.
All right, I'm gonna do it.
Cool. Be counted today. Visit my2020census.gov.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton.
And I am Thabiti Mpinga.
Inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback.
A positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
And take us along with you. Feedback.
You're watching WHPS, Highland Park, Detroit.
And we are back. Thank you so much for staying tuned to Feedback, a positive image production by Hood Research. My name is Theo Broughton, co-founder of Hood Research, and I want to encourage you at your leisure to log on to hoodresearch.org or Google us and on the Hood Research Facebook, or follow us on Twitter. Consider joining Hood Research. It's $20 a year and $300 for a lifetime membership. We are currently having meetings online, on the phone, each and every Saturday. We start at 2 p.m. We have guests who call in. We have information to share. We have candidates who also call in on Saturdays, and they join us, and we have opportunities for them to share their platform and to answer questions for all who join us and participate in that meeting. But remember, every Saturday, 2 p.m. And you can call the Hood Research number, and the number is 248-234-2888. 2371, and you will get the access code and the number for our weekly meetings, which are Saturdays at 2 p.m. Now we're going to bring in our next guest, who is Lamar Lemon. I'm sure all of you may know Lamar Lemon, and if you don't, we are pleased to introduce him today because we need to talk about the proposal that is on the ballot regarding our public schools. Lamar Lemon, are you with us? Oh. Hello.
Hello, I am here.
Aha! Ted, just give the viewers a intro of Lamar Lemon. Who is Lamar Lemons?
Well, I am first of all, a child of God. I am a husband, father, grandfather, and recently made a great-grandfather, long-time community activist.
Oh, wow.
And I happen to have been state representative in 1998 to 2006. I also from 2009 to 2017 was a member of the Detroit Board of Education. I served as its president during that tenure.
Thank you for that. And we want to thank you for joining us because many people are asking about the proposals on the ballot, and there's one in particular that you want to address. So,
certainly. Your viewers should know that this was a shakedown by the Republican Party, which is being continued by some members of Democratic Party, in that the state ran our district from $115 million surplus into a multi-billion-dollar deficit. And so they closed our district, or they actually bifurcated our district, dividing it into two. DPS, the district that you and I know and love, and many of us attended, no, and this proposal is for DPS, pay off incurred debt, which we believe is not only a Hitley violation, but a violation of the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, in that there was no, even though the former known as the Board in Exile, because we were elected, but all our powers and duties had been removed, that we demanded that we go to court. Actually, we go to bankruptcy court so that we can have discovery in court, so that we can assign responsibility, and which was clearly that of the state, and that they would make us whole again. To avoid that, bifurcated the district, and then they came up with a plan which will not pay off its debt the year 2021, and that's the tax revenues of the city are available to be paid off at this list, projected by 2051 as a direct consequence of the state's imposed indebtedness.
And that's what the emergency managers who came in and misspent and misused.
Managers, including the emergency finance, for 4 different configurations. This is why the public is confused. There was an emergency financial manager who overreached. The board from the court and sued. Board prevailed. They quickly came up with Public Act 4, was the first emergency manager. Remember, so when Snyder would say they already had an emergency manager, that was a total untruth, and I got them to say it was untruth, and they tried to say that there's no difference between the emergency manager, the emergency financial manager. In truth, the great difference, we had just won a case against the emergency financial manager. That the emergency financial manager, they created the all-powerful emergency manager, and giving him unprecedented control over the district. At the time, you should know this is very important. all the time, we maintain that the state no authority over our physical assets. Because that will require this, what they did to the city of Detroit, that would require bankruptcy. And that's another whole story I can deal with, the Detroit city bankruptcy. But that would require a bankruptcy. They had no authority over our assets without due process. Due process meaning we'd have to go to court to determine. So they kept, they were selling off assets that they had no authority to sell. They were liquidating assets that they had no authority to liquidate, transferring assets which they had none, and Public Act 192 through 197 also allowed them to transfer the assets, to bifurcate the district, create two separate districts, one without students, one with students. And so, direct consequence, needed some way to pay it off. They get the locals to do like they did in ill-advised they did in Flint, to try to get the locals to excuse them, vote for this. So when you vote for this proposal, you're voting to perpetually, and you're signing on that you agree it's a debt that's not even yours. That the businesses pay up this debt. In exchange for that, it will not impose it because legally they would impose it on the local taxpayers. Now, if the composition of the government is such that it was all Republican, we might have to bite the bullet and vote for this, so that it wouldn't go to the so that it wouldn't be imposed on the homestead. But the reality is, governor do this. So now people are doing a dirty work without her even asking for her to do it. So this is real. So it's complicated. The long explanation made short. We should be voting no proposal of tax the locals. They should vehemently be voting no. And you're being misled. There's no money in it. If you vote for this proposal, there's not going to be money for all the promises that they said, which is internet, what do you call it, virtual education.
Right. And computers and all that.
A blatant lie. Blatant lie.
We need to vote no. Now, what I would add to that is the proposal.
They're trying to sell that somehow you're going to directly benefit. You do not.
Right. They also tell you, Lamar, that only business owners will be taxed, but business owners pass on their expense to you. And if they own an apartment building and they have additional property tax to pay, your rent is going up.
Exactly.
If they own a store and they're selling widgets, oranges, or whatever the cars, whatever they're selling, and their property tax goes up, they're passing that on through the sale of whatever's in their store.
Exactly. And as they pass it on, it's only Detroiters. That makes Detroit less competitive because tax in Detroit, business owners have to pay. If you move across 8 Mile, you do not have to pay.
And that's an excellent point. So we want to vote no because we don't want the business owners to have to pay that tax either. Actually, we want the state to pay their own bill.
They owe us several $1 billion, by the way.
And they need to pay it. Now, there was a lawsuit that was won, and the governor entered into a settlement. Do you happen to know what the settlement is?
Yeah, absolutely. They did. There was some. Well, first of all, some of the plaintiffs received much of a cash award. not a whole lot, but it was more symbolic than anything. But they did receive cash for the plaintiffs, the students.
Okay.
Okay, so other students can also. The court was so concerned about it that they vacated it, but we had already forced the governor. That's why, if you remember, I kept pushing the governor to quickly settle. Even though some of the things I didn't like in the settlement, he said we need to move quickly. Even though, because now we have the settlement. And so we did, so we've already got them to see that they violated. And now we can use that future lawsuits. But only if you have the right board. This board, the corporations back the board with their people.
Oh.
So really, we have 3 members, not corporate, not directly corporate involved, and the other 4 are locked in with the corporation.
That's
some
how we ended
wittingly
up
and
with
some
that.
unwittingly.
Right.
I say wittingly and unwittingly. Some of them just on the team, and they may not be oblivious what the larger object is in this case.
I see. We have a caller on the line. We'll see if they have a question.
Okay. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please?
Okay, this must be me, right? Keith Hines, Diamond 2 Productions?
Yes, Keith Hines, you're on with Lamar Lemons. And
Hey, Lamar, how you doing?
Hey, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. This is some crazy times. You know, we take the education, and then you take the issues with these taxes. It's really crazy here in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm real proud of all the stuff that you're doing, though, man, because you've stood strong for a long time
I've been
against the
fighting this
system.
for all 22 years. I was designated by Kwame Kilpatrick when he was a member of when he was part of our leadership team from the city of Detroit to be the point person. And I'm letting them know, Kwame since was mayor and then unmayored and had all these other things that he had occur. But I never gave up my responsibility. As a matter of fact, I work currently as the chief of staff for Betty Jean Alexander, and in that capacity, I recommend and drafted did the preliminary draft for legislation that would rectify the emergency manager situation. The legislature is still controlled by the Republicans, and there's not been a push to do it, although I have talked to the leadership office on the Democratic side. Perhaps sometime within the next, depending on what happens in this election coming up, we'll be able to move some of this legislation. So it's real important that people come out, hold your nose, and vote for Joe Biden. Joe Biden isn't pure. He's got plenty of bad things, but it's to save the nation. It's like we had to go, it's like in World War II, black soldiers had to go and fight and stop the greater evil, which was Germany, because if Germany had gotten a world control, empire had expanded. Had Germany won the war, black people would have been immediately on the fast track to total genocide. We've been on the slow genocidal track here.
Right.
But the Germans were going to be more efficient as they were with the Jews, and the Jews' only crime was that according to Hitler, they were not really white.
Well, if that had happened, we'd all be. What is that?
He said they're not pure Aryans. They're Semitic and therefore tainted with black blood. That's from Hitler.
Wow.
And more importantly, most recently, somebody pointed out that Hitler said the real Jews were black. He said Hitler was obsessed with finding the stuff in ancient Hebrews. He was obsessed. He sent people. They made a movie about some of that obsession, which is mostly fiction. But the obsession of the Germans of finding the truth of the Bible was real. And the Germans, according to Hitler, nobody wants to quote, so I'd have to attribute it, and not saying it was good or bad or whatever, but Hitler said that the original Jews were black people.
Wow,
That's dynamic.
Crazy. I just want to throw in here, too, it was a Detroit News Friday published an article that Michigan counties cannot make profit make profit on tax foreclosed homes anymore because it violates the takings clause in the Fifth Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was ruled in the Michigan Supreme Court. So all the stuff that's been going on here, with properties as far as the amount of taxes, the assessments and things, the Supreme Court is saying it's against the law.
Mm-hmm. Now, the Fifth Amendment, is that the state Constitution or the federal Constitution?
That's U.S. Constitution.
U.S.
Right.
Constitution.
It's U.S. and the Michigan Constitution has to honor all the articles in the federal Constitution.
Right, right. But we want people to be clear.
Absolutely.
Want
In fact, they
just
cannot
want them to be
make any
clear
law
where you're
that-
reading. Mm-hmm.
Right. That's absolutely correct.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, I'm recommending that people vote no on all of the proposals.
And so am I.
Mm-hmm.
Because we gotta have a come to Jesus meeting. If you just automatically vote yes, and without them coming negotiate to the negotiating table from the community, then you are then we're going out the world backwards.
Yes, absolutely.
We
and
are,
that's
'cause
definitely
we've always
not
done good
voting
here
for
in
your
Detroit.
own
If you
interests.
think about it over years from Coleman, blacks had their own electrical distribution system. We had our own water system. Matter of fact, one of the best in the world, in the top 10 in the world. We had this beautiful public education system that was steady growing. And I can go on, but until the state came in.
They came in to systematically. In fact, I was so frustrated. I said, we need to get an exodus. Ida B. Wells had an exodus out of Memphis based on the racism when black people were competing. This was at the very beginning. We were competing with white businesses. A black business, we're just straight out of slavery. Straight out of chattel slavery, because they still kept institutional slavery, but that's another story. Straight out of chattel slavery, and we were building businesses that competing. They came and burned the business down and lynched the black people who had the audacity to compete with them.
Absolutely.
And that was in 1866 or 1867. That was during partially of the Reconstruction.
Right, right.
Well, it seems like they're still practicing the black code here in Detroit.
Absolutely. Illinois was famous for its black codes. They still have the black codes, only they become more guides. They've always tried to hide their dirt. Even in the Constitution, when they refer to a slave, there's no reference to a word slave. People held in service or labor. People are
in the
held in
13th
service
Amendment.
or labor. That's how the Constitution refers to us under the 3/5 clause.
And in the 13th Amendment, they talk about a person being incarcerated, returning to
In
servitude.
the 13th Amendment, it says it exempts slavery and involuntary servitude except for the conviction of a crime. By the way, the state constitution has similar language, and Senator Betty Jean Alexander has introduced legislation to have it striked out. It passed the Senate committee. If it passes both chambers with 2/3, and by the way, it passed the Senate committee overwhelmingly. So it's scheduled to go on the floor of the state Senate within the next 2 weeks, and it has to in order to be on the November ballot. Only the citizens can alter the
Constitution.
Constitution, the state constitution.
I hope that all who are listening are taking this in and taking it in deeply, because we have to understand what the political process is, what our role is in the political process, and how we can affect the political process. There are a lot of people, representatives, state senators, etc., who already have an agenda. That agenda does not include us. It includes to continue to disenfranchise us, whether it's through education, education, whether it's through economics, social and political maneuverings. We have to be aware of this. We can't take this lightly. And I always ask everyone, the information, everyone's not watching now. So you have to take it upon yourself to share this information with the people in your circle and really make them knowledgeable and aware of what's going on. And as Theo has said, if you don't know, vote no. I mean, that's I consider one of the more critical things. We can't vote yes and then find out later that we actually betrayed our own self-interest. So again, I emphasize to everyone who's listening to share this with people that you know, because we are part of the political process. As a matter of fact, we represent how the outcome will be and how it will affect us. So we cannot play the sidelines when we're supposed to be on the field. We can't be spectators.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. And so until we develop a mechanism to which we can negotiate really our own, it doesn't have to be with the government. We create our own citizens tax policy committee that's outside, and we decide what taxes we will and will not pay and how they are to be expended.
Mm-hmm.
So they're talking about defund the police, which I always say repeal and replace, tongue-in-cheek, with Donald Trump's Obamacare, which he really meant defund Obamacare, but he was smart enough to use a euphemism, and we should be that smart too. Don't say defund. People say, oh my God, what about the police? We need police. No, we need to repeal and replace.
Mm-hmm.
That includes, since we had to play hardball, I can go in on how they did the residency repeal when I was there and what Dennis Archer really did and how ineptly he did it. But he did oppose. A lot of people thought Dennis Archer did it, and maybe he did in some backroom deal. But officially, he came and opposed the repeal of residency. I can tell you that. I was there. Yeah. I sat right next to him when he did it, and it was done the most incompetently. In fact, when he testified, and this is a matter of record, he said there would be rioting in the streets. That was his only thing. But I couldn't figure out if it was incompetence or it was done deliberately.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because despite the fact that him being a Supreme Court justice, he knew nothing about political. Unlike Coleman Young and people that have been in the legislature who learn how to navigate and negotiate through the process and wheel and deal, Archer didn't know that. He knew only how to do things as a jurist.
Mm.
And baby, it showed.
It sure did. Did not benefit us at all.
Because of his arrogance, he would not come to someone like me to say, well, what should I do? How should I handle that?
Mm-hmm.
Because what people don't know is that the unions, the union bosses, I should say, the union bosses, because the interests of the union bosses and the unions are often quite different. So the union bosses were either supportive or silent on the repeal of residency, and that's why it flew through.
Oh, wow.
Well, Dennis Archer, had Miller Canfield behind him, and so he was probably just doing what he was told to do.
Canfield didn't have a dog in that race. This was strictly the white police officers who had been illegally living in the suburbs, and while enforcing laws, including misdemeanors on Negroes, and this was a felony they were committing by doing address fraud, insurance fraud, tax fraud, all three right there when you declared you lived one place and you actually live another place. You can't. All three of those things had to take place: insurance fraud, tax fraud, and what was the other one I said? But so those were the things that they were doing when they were using red. So they got their lobby, the police and fire lobbied the legislature as soon as Curtis Hotel was gone and the Republicans controlled it. And by the way, many of those police officers vote Republican.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And see, and here's the thing with the residency, it's selective. It takes away the one power that we have. But they have residency laws for their own community. Let give you an example. Grosse Pointe. When Ayanna Stanley Jones was shot in her couch, makeshift bed on the east side, living 1 mile from the Grosse Pointe border, where she couldn't go to the park, she couldn't have access to the lake, Lake St. Clair, without going through Grosse Pointe, off to the other side. She couldn't go to their schools. She couldn't use their library. She couldn't share any of those amenities because they were residency requirements.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that the Grosse Pointe School District hires private detectives to make sure that if somebody's using someone's address in Grosse Pointe, that they actually live there. And I can tell you, as president of the school board, I routinely got people who had violated and were trying to go get a quality education. And I can say this, that they couldn't get a quality education because the state was operating our district. There were certain things by law that I got to see.
Right, being there.
Everything that I didn't see as president of the board, because the state, under this emergency management, was operating the district, and they were operating to the ground. They took a district with 180,000 and brought it down to 40,000. Massively chartering, and they wanted to charter the whole district, and they kept referring to the New Orleans model.
Wow.
That was the discussion, the New Orleans model. They took away the total control of the public schools to make it private entities. And
not to mention all that property they took.
Is that when they send their kids to a charter school, they don't look up the chain, because what their charter schools, they put these makeshift school boards that were not elected over there who are compliant, and the real control about the corporatists who run the universities that do not have elected governance. All universities can be a authorizer under the law. John Engler orchestrated this. So, but there's certain things in the Constitution that gives autonomy to the universities. The universities are appointed with corporate-leaning, both Democrats and Republicans, who support the charter schools. So, John Engler's institution, Central Michigan, for instance, charters over 60 schools.
Oh, goodness.
And the Native Americans, through the only community college that's statewide, the Native Americans, and I went to the Native American, asked them to cease and desist, by the way. That's another whole story on that, and maybe we'll go back at a later time.
Right, that'll be fine, yeah.
In fact, we'll bring a whole group up there to demand that, and I'll reschedule that.
Okay, that'll be great.
So that's where the fight is.
Okay.
The fight is that these universities without elected boards, who are appointed even to terms longer than that of the governor, and they have been able to stay there and push a charter school agenda as authorizers, taking 3%. But the main thing is not the 3%, is the management companies.
Oh,
the management companies extract tremendous profit from public education.
Right. Lamar, we are at the end of today's program, but we are looking forward to continuing this and educating the community on what they need to know so they will not vote against their own interests. So today's answer is vote no on all three of the proposals. Then you won't even miss one. If you get confused, vote no on all of them. And I always say, if you don't know, vote no. But thank you so much, Lamar Lemons, for being with us here today. And we will be setting up the next time that you can come on and educate us.
Okay. And because let me say this, two things. Make sure you vote for Beverly Kendall Walker for treasurer. And also that I am contemplating running for the school board, and I have about 24 hours to decide. So we'll know by the next time you hear from me whether I'm speaking as a candidate or I'm speaking as a vociferous
You got a
citizen.
Facebook page, right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, people go on the Facebook page and let Lamar Lemon know you want him to decide in our favor. But thank you.
I'm going to be in your favor irrespective. The question is, do I want to... The school board takes a lot of time.
I got you. Well, thank you for that. You've been tuned in to Feedback, a positive image production by Her Research. And I always say it's not necessary for you to know everything. What is necessary is for you to know how to find what you need when you need it. And we want you to stay tuned with us and join us on Saturdays as well as we continue to share as much information as we can to help us all make better informed decisions.
If you want to be nothing, do nothing. But the only problem with doing nothing is you never know when you finish. Remember, vote no on all the proposals, and I want to thank Lamar Lemons and Keith Hines for the education.
That's right. And Google us. That's Hood Research. Be tuned in next Monday and Saturday. Peace.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton,
And I am Thabiti Mpinda,
inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback.
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback.